Marvin Garaway.
Okay.
Garaway.
Thank you. So Marvin, when were you born? What's your date of birth?
Oh, I was supposed to be born too? 6/20/32.
1932.
I'm a youngster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So you are a part of the chosen few. That means you're a U.S. Marine. You're a Marine
Oh,
veteran, right?
yes.
So what got you to enlist in the Marine Corps?
I couldn't get the classes I wanted in school, so I said I'd join the Marine Corps.
Oh, you were in high school?
Yeah,
Okay.
I went in at 17 because they didn't give me the subject in my senior year that I wanted, and I said, I can't afford to keep wasting time and not doing anything.
Oh. Do you remember what kind of subject were you wanting?
I don't remember now, but they wouldn't give it to me.
Oh, I see.
So I said, forget it. Had my mother sign, and I went in the Marine Corps.
Where were you living?
At that time in Los Angeles, California.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. So you were in high school right before you entered the military. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your family.
Didn't have much of a family.
Yeah.
I had my mother, and we lived with my grandparents. And when they moved from Ohio to California, we moved with them. And so basically we lived with the grandparents. My mother was divorced
When did you finally arrive to Korea?
the 1st Marine Brigade, August 1950. We were the first outfit of Marines that landed in the Busan perimeter.
Had you known anything about Korea before you went?
Never even heard of it.
Then what was going through your mind when you first heard that you'll be going, that there's a war in there?
Well, I had put in for furlough, and the officers said, well, we don't know if we should let you go or not because the war had just started the 25th, and you're due to go on vacation. And then 2 days later he says, well, you might as well go on vacation. We have not been alerted. And so I went on vacation. I went back to Ohio. I shouldn't have, because we're only allowed a certain distance unless we put it down on paper for our vacation. I gave my LA address because I figured my mother could find me with the relatives back in Ohio faster than anybody else could. So I gave my LA address. So anyways, as soon as I got back, she called one of the relatives, and they got a hold of me, and I called her back. They want you back right away. So, okay. So I went to the international airport, nothing. I went to the Air Force to see if I could get a flight back. A whole line of people waiting to get on military. I said, nope, I can't do that. So I went on standby at the international airport, and the next flight I could get on, I went out, landed in LA, and right away got on the phone and called the base and told them I just came in out of the mountains. It's going to take me all day to collect my clothes from this, that, and the other, you know. So, all right, see you tomorrow. Okay, so my mother says, I got to go to the grocery store and get something. You want to go with me? I said, sure, why not? Well, I don't know if you're familiar with some of these grocery stores. They have the liquor department right as you walk in. And she went in, and I stopped in front of the liquor. She looked back at me and walked up, bought me a bottle, said, here, go get drunk. So anyway, I took the bottle, disappeared, and the next day I went on the base, still drunk, but anyways, I went on the base, and all new faces. I mean, I didn't know anybody. I said, my God, this is my outfit. Where's everybody? Oh, they're loading the ship. These are the replacements working back here to get the things to the ship. And so they gave me a new rifle full of cosmoline. And the whole time I was on that ship, I stood in the hot water till it ran cold, trying to clean that cosmoline out. So anyways, I finally get it all cleaned up. Now I got my rifle. our Pusan landing, and the guy got promoted, and that sort of got me mad, got me upset. He got promoted and I didn't. Then we got aboard ship, and another guy got promoted, and I told my sergeant, I said, if anybody else gets promoted, I'm out of here. You transfer you anywhere you want. I don't want to be with you anymore. We get to Seoul University, and another guy gets promoted. Each time he's telling me I'm still his assistant. So I got the responsibilities, but no pay and no rank. So I said, what did I tell you? I said, another guy gets promoted, I'm out of here. Oh, you're going to get your ass. I don't care what happens. I don't want to work with you anymore. So he sends me up to H&S 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, and the master sergeant's waiting for me. And the first words out of his mouth, I understand you're a troublemaker. No. I explained to him, I said, hey, he promotes these people, but I'm the assistant, not getting the pay, not getting anything, but his assistant, the responsibility. You know your work that good? I said, yeah, I know it better than that. He said, I don't play those games. If you're good, you'll get promoted. And so anyways, that took care of that. And now I'm in H&S 3-5. And then the enemy comes in and came into our headquarters. I mean, we were just outnumbered, out everything. And my rifle, of course, being the way the Marine Corps wants it, nice, cleaned and oiled, doesn't work in freezing weather. So it would fire, but it wouldn't eject the shell. So I had another shell in it. But I had another guy from my outfit that would come around, knock the bolt back, put a shell in.
And where are you here? Where are you right
now? The Chosin Reservoir, where everything was frozen. We had 3 machine guns to protect our headquarters. 2 of them froze, only 1 worked. So they ran into our headquarters. And so when he left, we were hiding behind a Jeep and shooting at them. And when he got orders to go do something, he left me. Now I had no weapon at all, basically. So I crawled under the Jeep and I stayed there until practically daylight. He went to get our fighting units to push them out of our headquarters. Didn't realize when I crawled under that Jeep that there was a dead man already under there. And I'm watching. He poked him with the bayonet. He was getting ready to poke me with the bayonet, and he got called away. So that took care of that, and the next morning we all went looking for a rifle that would work. All of us had the same problem with the freezing weapon. And I found a dirty old, cruddy old weapon, and it never stopped firing. It just fired and looked like it still had sand from the beach. Wow. I mean, it was the dirtiest thing I ever saw in my life, but never stopped. Just worked and worked and worked. So that's basically, now we called for airdrop, and the code name for our 61 mortars was Tootsie Roll. And the guy that received this call for Tootsie Rolls didn't know what the hell was going on. So lo and behold, a whole load of Tootsie Rolls comes in, not the mortars. So, but that did help save our lives. It was that nourishment that we got from the Tootsie Rolls. In that freezing weather, you had nothing else. Everything, could put it in your mouth and suck on it for a while. So that helped get your energy. But during this whole episode, you couldn't stop. It was a minus 25 degrees with a wind chill of a minus 65. And if you stopped, you froze. And if you froze, you're dead. That was it. Our boots were not made for winter. If you stopped, they froze and your feet froze. And what else do you need to know?
Wow.
I'm very quiet.
Wow, I don't know. You tell it like, I've heard a few stories about the Chosin Reservoir before, But this, I don't know how, the way you tell it, I think it's a little more like I can visualize things. So I know I have this
Visualize freezing to death.
Yeah.
In the wrong clothes, the wrong boots. So anyways, that morning when we went and got our rifles and the enemy was pushed out of our headquarters again, I was taken away from communications and we were off into rifle teams, 4-man rifle teams, because they didn't need communicators. The radios didn't work. You couldn't lay a wire, so you were out other than a messenger running back and forth. So we were made into fire teams and we fought our way out. And basically that's about it. The names of the people I was with, I do not remember any of their names at all. In fact, I had an incident happen a long time ago when we had a reunion in San Diego, and it shocked the heck out of me. A guy came up to my table at the banquet and said, "Who's Marvin Garaway?" And I said, "I am." He said, "I'm Corporal so-and-so. I was your corporal in message center, you know." And he says, "I was the one that helped you with your rifle and all that stuff until I was called away." And he says, "Let's keep to get in touch." Well, he said, "I've got to go catch an airplane now," so he didn't even stay for the dinner. But he did want to stay long enough to meet me. Yeah. He said, "I looked all over for you, the wounded, the dead, the this. Couldn't find your name anywhere. And then I see listed here for the reunion, Marvin Garaway. I've been looking for you for a whole lot of years." And the only time I ever had contact with this man was every 2 years when we had a reunion. This man would send me an email, "Are you gonna go to the reunion?" "Okay, I'll go." But we never spent any time together, really. Just hello, how are you, and that. And I assume he died, after a few years because he wasn't a well man. But other than that, I was shocked. He said, "I was your corporal."
You don't remember his name?
No, I have no. I had it written down because we had contact by email every 2 years, but no, I don't. Me and names, I have to look my own up every day. I mean, I just don't know.
That's
So,
cool.
anyways, that's the little story I can tell, and that's just about all. I was air evac'd out. I didn't march the whole 78 miles to our ships. I saw one of our radio jeeps, and I said, "Can I sit down for a minute?" And he said, "Sure." So I just got in, and shrapnel hit me in the shoulder. So he just took me right over to the aid station. And the next morning I got out, and they said if I didn't get out on the last airplane, I would have to go the 78 miles back to our ships, but I did get out on the last airplane and got to the hospital in Yokosuka, Japan. And so I was at the hospital in Yokosuka, right shoulder. And then they started checking me for frostbite because they were going to send me back to combat. And they said, "No, we better check you for frostbite." Well, they had 3 categories, 1, 2, and 3. And if you were 1, that meant you could go right back. 2, they would recheck you in 2 weeks to see if it got worse or better. 3 was immediate evacuation to the States because you were that bad with the frostbite. So I had 2, they rechecked me, 2 again, they rechecked me, and I went to 3. So now, instead of getting better or staying the same, on the 3rd one it was 3. So now they said, "Well, you're entitled to go to the United States, but we have an opening in your MOS, your field of work, communications in Hawaii. Would you accept that duty?" Because Hawaii was not part of the United States then, it was still a territory. So anyways, I said, "Sure." Nice warm weather, why not? So I got over to Hawaii, and we have to march to class once a week, no matter what your field of work is, because you have to have basic basic military. And so I went to class one day, and I had my rifle up here and marched to class. Couldn't get my rifle off the shoulder because my arm didn't work. Couldn't get my arm to move. So I took the weapon down and went over to class. I said, I can't march back with you. They said, I'm just going to walk back. Okay, because they knew I was the only one combat veteran. So anyway, so I walked back. I went to work that night and got all the stuff out on the teletype and all that kind of stuff, and I started feeling bad, sweating, all that, and his arm swelled up. And I couldn't bend it, I couldn't do anything with it. So I said, I think I need to go to the sick bay. Yeah, okay, so they took me to sick bay, and I ran through all kinds of stuff, and they didn't know. And the doctor came in the morning, they didn't know what to say or what to do. He says, well, what do you say? Well, he did this, he did this, he did this, and then his arm don't work, which the sweating and all this other stuff has nothing to do with the shrapnel. So I don't know what to say. Well, we'll get him to Tripler Army Hospital. So they get me over there to the hospital, and right away, sign here. Sign here for what? Oh, for operation. You ain't gonna operate on me. The Navy won't operate, and I'm sure not gonna let you people operate. I said, you haven't even taken an x-ray. You don't even know what it is. They told me it's too close to all the muscles and nerves. I'd lose my arm if they even tried to get in there. So they weren't about to, and I'm gonna sign for you? No. Okay, so I went to the room. The next day, the corpsman comes in and says, they want you back at the base, your promotion is there. So they gave me 2 hours off or something. I went and got my promotion. I come back. Now this is the next day. I never saw a doctor that first day. The second day, I finally see a doctor. And he says, you're well enough to go to the base, aren't you? Yeah, to get my promotion. He said, well, you're faking it. Faking it? You can't see this 3 times the size it's supposed to be? How am I faking it? I can't make my arm just grow. You're faking it. That's why I didn't want surgery there, because I heard about that hospital. So I said, I'm not faking it. Okay, can I run a test? I said, well, I'm here. Run it. Do anything you want. So he got the longest needle I ever saw in my whole life. He started at my ear, went down and around and around and around. You're not faking, are you? I said, no. Now don't ever touch me again. And so I go to the room. I've never a pill, no nothing for pain, nothing, not a damn thing. And so I go to the room, and my back is to the door. And an inspection team came in, and he touched me. And with my good hand, I went over, I cold cocked him. He down. I want him arrested. You can't touch him. He's a combat veteran. You didn't even announce yourself. He didn't know who you were. I was on the next airplane out to a Navy hospital the next day. And so that's the story of that.
Wow.
But for years, it would work and it would stop. It would work and it would stop. You know, it just,
Really?
because the shrapnel is still moving around in there. So
Still now?
I assume it's still there. I've never seen it come out or ever felt it come out, so I don't know.
Are you right-handed?
Yeah. Anybody that's wounded. If you're left-handed, you get wounded on the left. If you're right-handed, it's automatic. Nobody knows how, or they can't even say how. But the doctors will tell you, if you're right, that's where you get wounded on the right. Yeah. So I had to learn a little bit of how to write with the left hand. So.
And your frostbites, they got better?
Oh yeah, frostbitten hands and feet. Now, right away, when they finally came out with cold weather injury, because it's not called frostbite, it's called cold weather injury. They took x-rays of my feet, and right away they automatically paid me for my feet and tried to tell me for 5 years that my hands weren't there. 5 years later they said, your hands are as bad as your feet. No kidding, I've been telling you that for 5 years. So I can't feel nothing here on the fingertips. Now you get back in here, yeah, I can feel it, but not up here. poke myself because of diabetes, and I take blood and I have to keep squeezing where that needle went in. I don't feel nothing. So, yeah.
Wow.
And as far as having all kinds of medical problems, I've had all kinds of medical problems. I've had 2 triple bypasses, a stent in my heart, prostate cancer, 35 treatments,
Oh my.
and it just goes on and on.
Are you cancer free now, or just
Well, they took out the lower part of my left lung, and they haven't said anything since.
I see.
I still take a pill now for my heart every 12 hours to keep the rhythm right, and that's pretty recent. That the rhythm went haywire, and I take this pill every 12 hours. So, yeah, I've had some medical problems.
You're looking pretty healthy for me, though. Do you feel fine?
Some days I'm all right, some days I just feel rotten. But at least I get out of bed in the morning, and I'm still able to do that, and I still stand up, and I still have to look up who I am. Outside, look at who I am.
And your name and.
That's what I mean. I'll have to see who I am. Other than that, yeah, I try to make the reunion because this is supposed to be the last one.
Oh.
I mean, we're too old, and not that many people can travel like that, you know. So I didn't want to miss the last one if I could.
Is that what everyone's saying? It's not for sure. It's the last.
Well, it was announced as this is really the last hurrah. That's why we had it here in San Diego. This is where we all left from.
I see.
In fact, I was hoping personally that this is the wrong. We should have had it 2 years ago when more of us were alive. We lost a lot of people these 2 years because that's all we had of every 2 years. And I really thought that I would not go where they were 2 years ago. I went there once. I would not go back again. It was Tennessee. And I thought that was the worst place we ever were.
Really?
Because other than that, every one of these reunions I went to, but Tennessee was awful. They had a big high-rise hotel and 3 elevators. Now, figure, this place is full, it's high. And if you have to change clothes for something, you're waiting an hour and a half for an elevator. And this is ridiculous. And it was in such a way that we didn't even use all the rooms because the leader of our Arizona chapter got us another place a block away that was not the same price. It was Red Roof Inn, I think it was. And even the people at our group got mad at us because we weren't there, so we didn't use all the rooms. But we were lucky. We didn't have to pay for the unused rooms because we had the Vice President of the United States there to speak.
Wow.
And because he was there to speak, they didn't charge.
I see.
For the
What year was it? Who was it?
Oh, God, I can't. I have trouble with my name. What do you mean, what year? I don't know what year.
Sorry.
Gee, but I only know when I was born. And even then, I have 2 birthdays. I have 2 birthdays.
Really?
Well, my mother said I was born on the 21st. And when I showed the military the birth certificate, they couldn't tell whether it was a 0 or a 1, so they changed it to the 20th.
Oh, I see.
And my mother said the 21st. And up till now, it's been the 21st. I'm 17. We are the government. We know best. And ever since, it's been the 20th.
I see. Can I ask you, how did you endure the Chosin? You were telling me things that happened, but also, what were you thinking? How do all of you guys?
When you're that frozen, how do you think but to stay alive? That's the main thing in your mind, is to stay alive and fight the enemy, because you have a job to do. That's getting yourself out of there. And of course, you don't think for yourself, you think for the group. See, that's one thing about the Marines. You work as a team, work as a group, and you make sure each one gets out. And I always felt safe that way. When my son tried to get in the Marine Corps, they said, no, Navy said no, and the Army said, we'll take you. And I said, well, now, I hate to say this, but if you go to combat, I'll worry like hell for you. Because I've seen what the Army does in combat, and that scares the hell out of me. In peacetime, that's fine. They're peacetime people. But fighting is not what they do. That is what the Marine Corps does. And they look out for each other. And I can't say that for the Army. Well, he never had to go to combat, thank goodness. But anyways, that's the way I feel about the Army. When we landed at Busan, that was the sorriest thing I ever saw in my life. They almost lost the island because the Army came from Japan, and they weren't fighters, they were lovers. That's all they knew. First shot and they run, and shot in the back too. That I can't see. But my idea and feeling for the Army, we went to the Army, pushed them away, gave them, went to another outfit, pushed the enemy away, gave it back to them. The third time we pushed them away and gave it back. The first outfit already lost what we gave them. We had to go back and push them away from the first outfit. And after that, they took us and put us aboard ship for the Incheon landing. So I didn't have any more dealings directly with the Army, but that was directly with the Army. And then the Army was so nice and so sweet, they left 4 or 5 trucks of ammunition and 105 howitzers that they used the ammo to shoot at us. Just left it. They had code machines in there. Brand new. We had World War II code machines. Well, overnight, they seemed to come back to our side and be painted our colors with our numbers. So they come over, did you get our equipment? What equipment? We don't have any of your equipment. It's all Marine Corps stuff. Yeah, we had, hey, these code machines work, they're brand new. And even then, they left the code in the trucks for the machines. This classified stuff, and they left it for the enemy. They just ran. And that is true story, believe me. When you get fired upon with your own ammo, you go over, take it back. And then one time, we loved the boots the Army had. They had beautiful boots. We had leggings. So we went and raided them. Everybody in our headquarters had these new shiny boots on. The first set of prisoners we got, me not afraid of you with the boots, me afraid of the leggings. We had the biggest bonfire and burned those new boots and put back on our leggings. I mean, they weren't afraid. It was the leggings that did it. They know the Marines, and they ain't gonna mess.
Wow.
But the Army, they didn't care about. Even the enemy. You know. And another story, and you'll find this in any of the chosen books too. They had crack troops of Chinese that came in against us with the direct orders to annihilate the 1st Marine Division. And there was a few Army there, but annihilate the 1st Marine Division. Out of that 125,000, we killed or wounded 59,000. Those that survived refused to ever fight in a Marine area again. They would not fight against the Marines. And that's in the books.
Wow, that's incredible.
It's a good thing I'm quiet. Very bashful. Very shy. Have nothing to say.
Have you been to Korea? Have you visited afterwards?
No, I was not ever able to do that. Either I was busy earning money, and on top of that, busy trying to take care of my wife that was in bed for 20 years. She was very bad shape. And so for 20 years, I tried to take care of her the best I could. She was a Brazilian, so at one time I took her back to Brazil to live with her family because I thought it was cheaper. And she stayed there for about 2 years and said, I can't take it over here. It's too humid. I can't take it. So I brought her back home. But what I paid over there was a little over $100 a month for a live-in.
Wow.
And I can't even get that for a half a day.
Right.
So, so she lived till about 4 years ago.
See.
But, you know,
Are you interested in visiting Korea?
I can't with the oxygen and being in a wheelchair. It's very difficult because I've been asked before if I wanted to go. I just can't do it.
You've seen though through like TV and pictures, right? What it is like now.
Oh, I've seen, yeah. I know it's beautiful.
How do you feel when you see how
I know
different it is?
how the South Koreans treat us compared to our government treating us. And it's quite a difference. As I said, this Susan Key is so happy because she was one of the kids that came out of this 100,000 that we brought back with us from the north to the south. And, you know, taking care of them, getting them out as much as ourselves out, that was quite an accomplishment.
Yeah.
But I've met several when I was in LA training at running what I could do. And I'd run across other people from South Korea. And this one guy says, yeah, I went in the South Korean Marines. When we went to Vietnam, I told him we'd only fight alongside the Marines, that we won't fight with the Army. And that was his view of it. And now he was working in LA as an electrician for the bus company. And it was interesting. He was training for marathons, and he trained other Asians for marathons. And we kept running across each other. We'd go to this park or that park, and there he was. And he's trying to get me for marathon, but I can't. I don't have the lung power for that anymore. And of course now it's even worse. Now that they took out the lower left part of my lung. So what else would you like to not know?
When did you? When were you discharged from the military?
1959. I was in 10 years.
I see.
Went in 49, got out in 59.
What did you do after?
Oh, God. Well, let's see what I did afterwards. I sold cars for a week. Found out I couldn't make any money selling cars because I can't be that big a liar. So, you know, you got to really have a way to lie to people to sell cars. So anyways, I did that for a week. Then I went and drove a cab, and I got those people real mad at me.
And were you back in LA?
Yeah, well, that's where I came from, you know. So anyways, one of my buddies from the Marine Corps came by the house and says, I want to go sign up to be a bus driver. Would you take me? Because I had a car. So I took him down to the bus company. And they said, we've already got our class for this week. They're going through the physicals now. But why don't you stick around in case one pet doesn't pass the physical? They'll give me a call right away. Sure enough, the call came through. And I said, well, he's the one that came here. Nah, you signed the paper too. He failed, I passed. All right, you start tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. I already got a job. So I went and told the bus company, guess what? When I turn in my stuff tonight, that's it. I'm finished. You didn't give us any notice. My next job starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. I can't help you. So they were a little peeved at me. But anyways, that's what happened. So I went to work, and I worked 5 years for the bus company. And then I worked 2 years for a private bus company. Oh, God. Then I worked as a messenger. Somewhere along the line, I was a motorcycle messenger. And then eventually I worked for the movie studios and security. And then I was a small outfit, and they it was a weird thing. They hired a guy because one of them went to the hospital and they didn't know if he's coming back. And he said, oh my God, what a beautiful job, good pay, good that. So now he's writing in a book all about me because now the guy's gonna come back and he don't wanna lose his job, see? So he's writing nasty things about me, so the boss said, out, see? So I took him to court. That didn't do any good with the union because I lost. I didn't know what he was writing in the book. This guy doesn't know what I'm doing in the back lot. He's in the front lot. This is a movie studio. But it was only 4 people, only 4 security. So anyways, I was out. And this guy's happy. Oh man, he's making good money now. But for over 8 years, I could not work for another studio. Finally, after 8 years, I got back with the studios and I finally got a mini retirement from them. I worked 11 years for one of the studios. But it was a hassle getting in. Then I worked for Home Savings and Loan. Well, first I went to be an armored car. And I loved that. Until the 5th day when they wanted me to take out a one-man armored car. I said, no, I can't take out a one-man armored car. I've only been with the company 4 days. I said, I'll bring the uniform back, forget it. And then I called Home Savings and Loan and they went from contract security to in-house security. And I called them, I said, this is my story. Oh, okay, come on in. So I went in and I had a Marine Corps tie class, boy. Never been turned down when I had a Marine Corps tie class. And so I get there and I filled out the forms. I'm sitting downstairs waiting and waiting. When am I gonna go upstairs? Well, we're not sure if you have enough qualification. I said, I already talked to the boss upstairs and he told me to fill that out and come on up. Okay, you better go on up then. And he got on that phone. I make the decisions. You don't make decisions on security. And he looked at my tie class. Oh, you were in the Marine Corps. I said, yeah. And he wanted to start talking about the Marine Corps. And I said, no, I'm here for a job.
Oh, what was your final rank from the Korean War?
Well, my final rank from the Korean War or just my rank when I got discharged? Sure. Because I was just a PFC during Korea.
Then when you were discharged?
I was an acting staff sergeant because they were changing the ranks over. And if I didn't make staff in a year, I would lose my staff SCO privileges and all that. It was called acting staff sergeant.
One last question. What does the Korean War mean to you in your life? What impacted it?
One of the phases of going through life. The country says do this, do that, you do it. I mean, it doesn't bother me one way or the other. We have to protect our interests wherever it is.